coming up.
Very good.
Excellent. All right, you ready, Kenny?
And here we go, Gary. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gary and Kenny Show. I'm Gary Kroger in Waterloo, Iowa, and I'm joined by...
Ken Seisler in Calabasas, California.
How are you, Ken?
I'm well. Enough about me. Let's meet Hawk.
And okay, very well. Let's get right into our guest. Our guest today is American film producer Hawk Koch. Hawk is the former president of both the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and the Producers Guild of America. He was involved in over 60 major films. I mean, I'll name a few: Chinatown, The Way We Were, Wayne's World, Rosemary's Baby. He's collaborated with Francis Ford Coppola, Roman Polanski, Sidney Pollack, Warren Beatty, Robert Redford. It goes on. He's also the author of Magic Time, My Life in Hollywood, which chronicles his
show book,
which chronicles his fascinating life growing up in Hollywood, his father's legacy, his own career, and his journey of self-discovery. And that's what really captivated me. Please welcome Hawk Koch.
It is a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, Ken and Gary. I'm excited to do this.
No, we're still trying to figure out how someone of your caliber is doing a little diddly squit podcast like ours. How did we land you, Hawk?
There's a diddly squit producer named Mark Gordon.
Yeah. It's all connections, guys.
We love that diddly squit.
The whole business is connections.
Who's a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
And he said, "You've got to do this." So if Mark says do it, I do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Hawk, so we're coming up because there's so much stuff that I want to talk to you about. But right now, we're a little bit out from the Academy Awards. You are with the Academy Awards is the Motion Picture Association of America, which you were the president of. You still belong to the association, I assume.
Yes.
Now, first question, are you going to the Academy Awards that's coming up in a week from now?
You bet.
You will. Have you been to every single one?
No, because it started in 1920.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
I missed that one.
Good catch.
Good catch. Okay.
To re-ask Kenny's question, since you were president, have you gone to every Academy Award? You put on the tuxedo, you and Molly?
Yeah, I didn't go last year. That was, very small and in the middle of COVID. But other than that, I've been going on and off since 1971.
Well, here's the thing. I think a lot of people understand, I'm in the Directors Guild, Gary's and SAG, people understand those organizations. But when they hear the Academy, it's kind of obtuse. Like, who is in the Academy?
Okay, very simple. All of these other award shows, I don't know, critics, 12 people in a room, decide on People's Choice, who knows, somebody in Australia is voting for, best American film. I don't know. The Academy is nothing but peers of the people who make the movies. We have 17 different branches: production design, actors, producers, directors, sound, vis effects, writers. Did I say directors? Right. Executives, movie executives,
and each one of those branches just
documentaries.
Each one of those branches only votes on the category of the winner.
No,
oh.
Each one of those branches nominates who is nominated for their award. So only cinematographers nominate cinematographers. Only sound technicians nominate best sound.
Then who chooses the winner?
Everybody.
9,000 get to vote on all 23 awards.
Okay. How do you get to be a member of the Academy?
Good question.
You have to each branch gets to select who their members every year, what members should be brought in. Once you're a member for life. So you don't all of a sudden fall out of favor unless you don't pay your dues. Mm-hmm. But, like with anything else, but they get to choose who their new members would be. And you don't call in and say, "Hi, I'd like to be a member." You have to be invited by your branch. So if I'm a producer, I might want to invite some new producer or some producer who's been doing great work but isn't in the Academy again. So me and one other sponsor from the producers branch will write to the producers branch executive committee and say, we'd like to invite Gary Kroger to be a member because he's been an amazing producer and we want him in. Then those 10, 20, 40 are looked at by a branch subcommittee, a committee of maybe, I don't know, 15 other producers. And they decide who of that 10, 20, 30, or 40 should get in this
It's
year.
a big deal to get into the academy.
Yes.
I think we should elect presidents that way.
Yeah,
It just seems much more focused. Well, now let me ask you a
Wait,
question.
did you vote this year on the best pictures and all? The
Yes, I
categories?
voted for
You
Best
voted.
Picture. That's all I'm allowed to nominate for.
I see.
And starting Thursday, for a week, we are all able to vote electronically, of which I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Electronic voting started when I was president.
Mhm.
I got a lot of flack. Oh, no, paper ballots. And I said, no, we're in the 21st century.
Right. Well, I want to talk
So
about
now
that too. Yeah.
that I will be voting starting Thursday. I will.
Have you picked who your best picture yet? Do you know in your head your best picture? You're probably not allowed to say, right?
Not allowed to say.
Well, no. Now, this system, which most people don't know, most regular folks between Omaha and Cleveland have no idea what you just said. And this is very illuminating, even for me, and I was in the business. But given such an aggregate force, what's the point of campaigning for an Oscar? I mean, you see out ads.
Well, that's what Harvey.
How would that work? Because it seems to me that this is a very good way to get a very balanced and authentic vote.
Well, it is an authentic vote, and campaigning is basically making sure that everybody in the Academy, whether they read Variety or Deadline or Hollywood Reporter or their local newspaper. Does anybody read a newspaper anymore?
I
know.
actually did.
Is aware of your movie. And
But
the
the incident with Harvey Weinstein did create new rules, didn't it? Didn't there what started to put in practice?
Yes, because of Harvey and the way Harvey did things, we did create new rules. There were only allowed so many producers because all of a sudden, Gary said, if I said to Gary, hey, you want to be a producer on my movie? Yeah, you're a producer. You get a credit. And by the way, if we win, you get to go up and get an Oscar. No. Now you actually have to do the work of a producer to get the Best Picture Oscar. It's a little easier when you're Tom Hanks and Tom Hanks is the winner of the Oscar. They don't go, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. He didn't really act in that movie. It was somebody else. No, producer, we vet them. We arbitrate and decide who really was the producer of that movie. And as you look at films from now on, and I'm very proud to say that Mark Gordon and I started this, you'll see a little P period, G period, A period, small, not like professional golfers. And if that little logo or good housekeeping seal of approval is next to your name, you get to say, oh, he really produced that movie. And he can get an Oscar, a Producers Guild Award, a BAFTA award. You remember the Golden Globes? They used to be around.
Yeah. Hey, Hawk, there's a lot of controversies with the award shows, the Oscars, and the Oscars have it tough every year. Especially last year was COVID, this year it's the Ukraine, and then there's the issues of just the movies don't necessarily reflect popularity; they reflect critic stuff. I mean, you guys, there's a lot of eyeballs on this and a lot of criticism. It's very in this politically correct world. It's a challenge, I would imagine.
Life in the 21st century is definitely more difficult. We were a smaller organization. People went to the movies. My favorite period is the 1970s, of which I was very active. And I'm not sure that any of those movies would get, or most of those movies might not get made today.
I don't think so.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because I think the audience has been dumbed down to Marvel and franchise and that kind of stuff. And I think that the studio heads of the years when I was there, I just went yesterday to the memorial service of a man named Alan Ladd Jr.
Yes, I read that. Yes,
who was, a great film executive who went with Mel Brooks and went with, what was his name? George Lucas.
Yeah.
And he said, go do it. And the studio executives today are under tremendous pressure for the stock market and the bottom line. In the 60s and 70s, and I got to be around Robert Evans a lot. And for those of you who may have
I want to talk about it. So much I want to talk about.
Watched his documentary or read his book, The Kid Stays in the Picture.
Stays in the picture.
Evans had to deal with Charlie Bluedorn at Dolphin Western, which was a big conglomerate that owned Paramount. But he fought like crazy. And he probably had to do about 20 movies a year, but maybe 10 or 12 of those made economic sense, but a few of them made sense because Bob in his gut said, you know what, I think this is a great movie. And that's how we got Chinatown and Godfather and Godfather 2 and The Conversation.
But those critically acclaimed movies made money.
They ended up making money.
I mean, I looked at the top box. I looked at the Academy Award nominations this year, and not one of them were in the top 10 of money making in the box office. It doesn't reflect.
I'm only one of 8,500 people, so I can't talk about that.
Well, just mention that.
Now, going back to the Academy Awards, there's a tension on diversity and paying attention there. But again, you've created a system which is a judgment of what is the best picture, who did the best job producing, best actor. That's not a criteria of gender or race. So how does focusing on diversity work its way? There's a conundrum there. How does it work its way into making the choice? Did that make any sense as a question?
Yeah. I don't make my choice of who I'm going to vote for because they're a man, a woman, a they, a black, white, red, whatever other colors there are that people want to talk about. I make my choice on what I think is the best movie. I think that inherently in human nature, some people look at, this is an African-American director. Maybe I ought to think about him or her more than somebody else. And they may or may not. But I think it's in our consciousness that, we haven't done a good job for years about women. We haven't done a good job about Hispanic or Black or Native American. And I'm proud to say, when I was president, I really pushed for diversity. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that because you're Black or you're Hispanic or you're a woman, you should win the award. I mean, let's look this year. I think it's going to be very tough for anyone other than Jane Campion to win Best Director. She just won the BAFTA. She won the Directors Guild Awards. She's a woman, so it's going to be tough for anybody else to win it.
What year were you president of the MPAA?
2000 of the Motion Picture Academy?
Yeah.
2012, 2013. Argo was the winner.
Who was the host of that show?
Seth MacFarlane.
Oh, and now did they say he did a good job? Were they okay with Seth? That was good.
Yes.
So now, since then, we've had all this interest about the Kevin Hart thing, and trying to get then the no host thing, then the 2 women thing. Now it's the 3 women thing. It's like I don't know how you win in this world today. I long for the Johnny Carson, the Bob Hope, those people.
Billy Crystal, for that matter.
Billy Crystal. That's what I long
Steve
for.
Martin.
I liked Whoopi. I liked Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
Ellen was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I think like most things, you try to build places and things and people up, and then human nature, you want to tear them down.
Yeah.
And I think that unfortunately, because any obit of anybody who's ever been nominated or won an Oscar, the first line of Joe Dokes, Oscar nominee for so-and-so, passed away this morning. The Oscar is the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
And we try, and we're trying to stay relevant. It's very hard to stay relevant today
Really,
with
today.
everything else that's going on.
It's unbelievable.
And so it's
Different world,
you know,
different world.
everybody, when somebody's nominated, the first thing on all of these websites are, here are the nominees and here are the snubs.
Yes.
Well, they can't wait to talk about
Yes.
who didn't get
Well,
nominated.
they also do a checklist of how many blacks, how many women, how many Latinos. There's all that right alongside that, the
That's-
snubs and the
that's it.
diversity quotient.
And that's, you know, and it probably is because we didn't, you know, hey, here's 3 white guys talking.
Yeah.
It is, but I think a lot, to be honest with you, is the internet. It's just clickbait. They put any,
Well,
if you make any kind of controversy, they do clickbait.
Case in point, the passing of William Hurt. And I posted, a great actor passed away. You know, it's very sad. He'll be missed. Well, of course, immediately the cyber world descended
Mhm.
upon me. Well, what about what Marlee Matlin's accusations in her book? And I went, oh my God, I forgot. Are we allowed to celebrate a great actor who passed away, who probably had a life-changing experience and became a better person, but because of the Marlee Matlin situation, there's an industry of like, well, you don't dare.
Well, don't get me started, because I made 2 films with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, Roman Polanski.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
So
you did.
We're going the same. you know.
Before we get into your movie career, which is absolutely going to be
Yeah.
after this last
Well-
question, and it's probably, I don't know, it's just an industry question. I'm in the DGA. When initially to be able to get access to the movies, you went to the movie theater to watch the movie. They said you could go to the movies for free, which, you know, most of us could afford anyhow, but it was great. We go to the free incentive, and I'd watch a movie on the movie theater. Now I get screeners and I get DVDs. I didn't see one movie that is nominated in a movie theater. What's happening with, how do you guys do that? Because it's a different experience, isn't it?
Yes, total different experience. And we have to go before COVID, BC, because COVID changed everything to the detriment, in my opinion.
Totally.
And I remember, I guess it's 3 years ago now, where I saw Roma. Roma, yes.
Yeah.
I went to the movie theater to see Roma. And I came out and thought, wow, this is a really good movie. Then a few friends of mine saw it on DVDs
Mhm.
at home and said, oh, I turned it off after 20 minutes. Couldn't stand it.
And that's
I ran it at home again to watch it a second time, and it didn't play anywhere near as well as it
Amazing.
did. So I'm hopeful
right.
that people will go back to the movies, and they are going back.
But the majority of people who write this year probably are judging the movies, have probably watched them either on a screen or a DVD.
Because most of those movies didn't even play in the movie.
Exactly. There was no theaters.
We'll go in and out of talking about your book, but in your book, you talk about your first magnificent experience
I
in a
love this
giant theater in the dark. It's the 10 Commandments. And you talked about, you made it so tactile that I was there, because my first experience was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in a big cinema scope. And my dad,
James Mason.
welcome to the Nautilus. We'll be diving to depths of 20. I've done it ever since. And to this day, Hawk, and you'll relate to this, I can't watch a movie without popcorn. I have to have the experience with
Well,
other people and the
you know,
magnificence.
All openness, I'm on the board of AMC Theaters. We're the #1 theater company in the world. And we are about to put out AMC popcorn in your local supermarket. So
But that'll keep me at home. I like to go to the
Yeah,
theater.
but
I want you to go to the theater, but
But-
when you're home and you're watching Succession, you know,
Fair enough.
a TV
But-
series.
But you guys are old enough to also remember that we used to make popcorn by, you get the little pot, you put some oil in the bottom of the pot, you
Yeah.
put the popcorn in there, you put the top on. That was pop, and it smelled up the house.
That
now,
was
you know,
popcorn.
Now it's microwave popcorn. It's just not the same.
Wait a minute. You're talking about that. I was in Iowa, and Cary Grant was coming down, and
Oh
I had
my
to go and
God.
pick the corn because that plane was coming to get him.
Wait,
You-
oh, good.
Goodbye.
Do we want to, just to wrap up, the new reality, surviving movie theaters, tier pricing,
You got to do everything you can.
everything you can. Yeah.
Everything you can. Go to the movies, folks.
Yeah.
Don't watch a comedy at home.
Yeah.
Don't watch a horror film at home. Don't watch an action movie at home. Don't watch a drama where all of you, a community together watching that.
Yeah. You know
Preaching
what's
to the
gonna-
choir,
Watch a
my friend.
thriller at home. You want to scream by yourself? Scream with 200 other people.
But see, as long as there's dating, you could always take a girl to the movies. You want to
Yeah.
go to the movies with me.
Yeah.
That hopefully.
Or with your buddies or with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And put the popcorn in your lap. We know your
Yeah.
old trick,
There you
Kenny,
go.
on a date.
I'm
Hey,
gonna go eat popcorn right
Bullhorn, it's a wrap. We need to respect your time and you're
Thanks,
a
guys.
living.
I really enjoyed it, and I hope your group likes it too.
I
Well,
hope so.
they will.
We'll send you everything, Hawk. Thank you very much, and hopefully one day. I'm surprised we hadn't met already, given our relationship with Mark. But
Take care.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet both.
again.
Honor to meet you, sir.
that was-
Thank you
that
for
was-
giving us your time.
that was
That was
Let
awesome.
Mark
fascinating.
Gordon know that I was okay.
Yeah, you were fascinating. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for watching and/or listening to the Gary and Kenny Show. We're on all the popular podcast platforms. We have our own YouTube channel, The Gary and Kenny Show. We'd love it if you'd subscribe. We're also on streaming television, DBNA TV. That's all from me. Kenny, how about you?
I think that's all from me. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.